In the dead of night, somewhere in the jagged mountains of Afghanistan, a squad of Navy SEALs crouched behind crumbling rocks, their breaths shallow, hearts pounding like war drums. They were surrounded, outnumbered 20-0 yet Taliban fighters closing in from every ridge, the crack of AK-47s echoing like thunder. Death whispered in the wind. Then, from the shadows atop the highest hill, a single silhouette appeared. No sound, no warning, just a glint of steel under the moon. One by one, the enemy dropped. Silent, precise, unseen. Who was this ghost on the ridge? And how did one man turn the tide of certain slaughter into a legend? Whispered in barracks from Coronado to Kabul. Hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss a story like these, because what you're about to hear will haunt you, inspire you, and make you believe in miracles forged in fire. The year was 2011. And Operation Red Wings had already taught the world that no mission was guaranteed, no team invincible. But this wasn't Red Wings, this was Operation Phantom Veil, classified so deep that even the Pentagon's top brass pretended it never happened. Leading the six-man SEAL team was Chief Petty Officer Ryan "Hawk" Callahan, a 34-year-old from Billings, Montana, with ice blue eyes that could spot a light at 50 yards and a scar across his jaw from a knife fight in Fallujah. Hawk wasn't just a warrior, he was a father of two little girls back home, their crayon drawings tucked inside his vest like talismans against the darkness. His team called him the Rock because when everything crumbled, Hawk stood firm. Tonight, though, even the rock was cracking. They'd been inserted by Black Hawk at 0200 hours, tasked with extracting a high-value informant from a village nestled in the Hindu Kush. Intel said light resistance, maybe a dozen fighters. Intel was wrong. The village was a hornet's nest. As soon as the team breached the safe house, all hell broke loose. RPGs shredded the night sky, tracers lit up the valley like deadly fireworks, and the informant, dead before they even reached him, throat slit as a message. Now, retreating up a goat trail slick with blood and dew, the SEALs were hunted. Petty Officer First Class Marcus Doc Ramirez, the team's medic from East LA, dragged the wounded teammate, SEAL Sniper Tyler Ghost Harlan, whose leg was a mangled ruin from shrapnel. "Keep moving, Ghost. We're not dying here," Doc yelled, his voice raw over the gunfire. Behind them, Ensign Liam Preacher O'Connor, a devout Catholic from Boston with the rosary wrapped around his wrist, laid down suppressive fire with his M4. "Lord, guide my aim," he muttered with every burst. Flanking left was Petty Officer Second Class Jamal Blade Washington, a knife expert from Chicago's South Side, lobbing grenades that bloomed orange in the darkness. And covering the rear, Lieutenant Junior Grade Ethan Viper Kane, the hotshot from San Diego, calling in broken radio pleas for extraction. "Any station, this is Viper 6. We are combat ineffective, requesting immediate dust off. Over." Static. Always static. The Taliban had jammers. They were ghosts in their own graveyard. Hawk signaled a halt at a cluster of boulders, the team forming a ragged perimeter. Sweat stung their eyes, the air reeked of cordite and fear. "Count off," Hawk whispered. One by one, they sounded. Doc, Ghost, Preacher, Blade, Viper. 6 souls against what sounded like 100. From the ridges above, voices shouted in Pashto-ons, commands, the click of magazines loading. A flare popped overhead, bathing everything in hellish red light. Shadows danced like demons. "They're flanking us," Blade hissed, peering through his night vision goggles. East and west. "We're in a kill box." Ghost, pale and shaking, leaned against the rock. "Chief, leave me, I'll hold them off." His voice was a rasp, blood pooling beneath him. Hawk knelt, pressing a bandage hard against the wound. "Negative, brother. We go home together or not at all." But even as he said it, doubt gnawed at him. Ammo was low, maybe 2 mags each. No air support, no QRF. The nearest friendly forces were 50 clicks away. This was it. The end. Hawk thought of his daughters, their laughter echoing in his mind like a cruel joke. He closed his eyes for a split second, praying to whatever god listened to men like him. That's when the first Taliban fighter died. No gunshot from the team, no explosion, just a muffled thud, like a body hitting dirt. Up on the eastern ridge, a sentry clutched his throat, eyes wide in surprise. before crumpling. The SEALs froze. "What the hell?" Viper whispered. Another thud, then another. From the western ridge now 2 more enemies down, silent as falling snow. The Taliban chatter turned frantic, flashlights sweeping the hills. "Sniper?" Doc ventured. But no muzzle flash, no report. Hawk scanned with his scope, nothing but empty shadows. The team exchanged glances, hope flickering like a dying ember. "Whoever it is, they're on our side," Preacher said, crossing himself. Blade grinned despite the pain. "Angel of death, baby." But Hawk wasn't convinced. In his 15 years, he'd seen mirages in the desert, ghosts in the wire. This felt too perfect, too timed. "Stay frosty," he ordered. "Could be a trap." Down in the valley, the Taliban commander, a scarred warlord named Kareem the Butcher, obeyed loud orders. He'd lost 4 men already, throat slit or neck snapped. No sound. Panic spread like wildfire. Fighters fired blindly into the darkness, bullets swanning overhead. The SEALs used the chaos, crawling forward inch by inch toward a shallow ravine that might lead to exfil. Ghost was fading fast, his breath gurgling. Doc injected morphine, whispering, "Hang on, man, for your kid back in Texas." Halfway to the ravine, all hell paused. A whistle sharp, piercing a cut through the night from the hilltop. Every head turned. There, silhouetted against the stars, stood a lone figure. Tall, cloaked in a guttural scarf, an axe slung over one shoulder, a curved blade in hand. He raised the knife in a salute, then vanished. In that instant, the Taliban unleashed the barrage at the hill, but it was too late. The shadow was gone, and with him, the fear gripping the enemy. The SEALs pressed on, hearts racing with a new fire. "That's our guardian," Preacher breathed. But who was he? As they moved, the kills continued. One by one, Taliban spotters dropped from ledges, their screams cut short. A machine gun nest went silent mid-burst, the gunner slumping over his weapon. It was methodical, merciless, a predator toying with prey. The team's radios crackled to life for the first time, faint, garbled, but there. "Viper 6. This is Shadow. Hold position. Extracting." "You, Shadow?" Hawk's mind reeled. No call sign like that in the briefing. But hope surged. They hunkered down in the ravine, returning fire sparingly to conserve ammo. Ghost was unconscious now, his pulse ready. "We lose him, we lose everything," Doc said, tears mixing with sweat. Blade covered the approaches, his knives ready if it came to close quarters. Viper tried the radio again. "Shadow, whoever you are, we owe you a beer." Minutes stretched like hours. The Taliban, rattled and leaderless, Kareem had taken a round to the shoulder from his own men's wildfire, began retreating, dragging their dead. But stragglers lingered, snipers picking at the edges. That's when the shadow struck again. Closer this time, a Taliban fighter crept toward the ravine, only to have a hand clamp over his mouth. A blade flashing. He dropped without a sound. The figure emerged briefly into moonlight, face obscured, but eyes burning with intensity. He nodded at Hawk, then melted back into the rocks. Emboldened, the SEALs advanced. They crested a small rise, and there, in a clearing, sat a battered Toyota pickup, engine running. No driver. Keys in the ignition. "This can't be real," Viper muttered. But it was. They loaded Ghost in the back, Doc riding with him, applying pressure. Hawk took the wheel, the others piling in. Bullets pinged off the metal as they sped down a dirt track, but the shadow was everywhere, flanking, picking off pursuers. A RPG streaked past, exploding harmlessly behind them. The truck fishtailed through switchbacks, descending into the valley. Halfway to safety, disaster struck. NI-8 buried in the road, detonated under the rear axle. The truck flipped, rolling thrice before coming to rest on its side. Ears ringing, vision blurred, Hawk crawled out, rifle ready. The team was scattered, groaning. Ghost thrown clear, unmoving. Taliban voices closed in again, emboldened by the crash. "End of the line." Blade coughed, blood on his lips from a head wound. Hawk stood over his men, defiant. "Not today." He fired controlled bursts, dropping 2 chargers, but ammo clicked empty. Knives it was. Preacher beside him, rosary swinging, Viper on the radio, screaming for help. Doc shielding Ghost, Blade grinning maniacally. They formed a circle, backs together, ready for Valhalla. Then, The shadow descended the hill like a storm. No longer stealthy, he charged, a whirlwind of steel and fury. The curved blade sang, severing limbs, piercing hearts. Gunfire from his axe mowed down a squad in seconds. Taliban broke and ran, but he pursued, relentless. One fighter turned, firing wildly. The shadow dodged, closed the gap, and ended him with a chokehold. Kareem the butcher, limping, raised his pistol. The shadow disarmed him with a twist, blade to throat. For the innocents, he growled in perfect English, then slit the warlord's throat. Silence fell. The shadow approached the SEALs, hands raised. Up close, he was older than expected, the mid-50s, weathered face. A U.S. flag patch faded on his sleeve under the gatra. "You boys alright?" His voice was gravel and honey, accent Midwestern. Hawk lowered his knife. "Who the hell are you?" The man smiled faintly. "Name's Elias Thorne. CIA, retired, or supposed to be." He glanced at the team. "Heard your chatter on an old frat. Couldn't let good men die." Turns out, Elias was a legend, the ghost of Panjshir, a spook who'd gone native after 9/11, living among the tribes, fighting shadows with shadows. He'd lost his own team years ago in a betrayal, vowed never to let it happen again. Tonight, he'd been tracking Kareem for months. The SEAL's mess was his opportunity. Choppers thundered in a QRF finally, guided by Elias's beacon. Medevac for a ghost, who miraculously clung to life. As the team boarded, Elias helped load the wounded. Hawk grabbed his arm. "Come with us, you're a hero." Elias shook his head. "My war is not over. Shadows don't get parades." He handed Hawk a small token, a worn challenge coin from SEAL Team 3, class of 85. "Tell your girls about tonight. Tell them freedom has guardians." The bird lifted, Elias fading into the dawn light, a silhouette on the hill once more. Back at Bagram, Ghost survived a leg amputated, but alive. The team was debriefed, sworn to secrecy. Operation Phantom Veil buried deeper. But stories leak. Whispers in the teams. The night one man saved 6. Years later, Hawk, retired in Montana, teaches his daughters to shoot. On quiet nights, he stares at the hills, coin in hand. Was it real? The scars say yes. The Brotherhood says forever. And that's the story of the shadow on the hill, of the unsung savior who turned despair into deliverance. If this moved you, like, share, and subscribe for more tales of valor. Now, tell me in the comments, from which part of the country are you watching this video? But wait, that's just the surface. Let's dive deeper into the hearts of these men. The moments that forged them unbreakable. Start with Hawk. Ryan Callahan wasn't born a SEAL. He was a ranch kid, roping calves under big skies, until 9/11 lit a fire in his gut. Enlisting at 18, he clawed through Bud's, the drown-proofing, the Hell Week hallucinations where he saw his future daughters waving goodbye. "Pain is temporary," instructors barked. Hawk made it permanent armor. His first kill in Iraq haunted him, a teenage insurgent, eyes wide with fear. But duty called louder. Doc Ramirez, street-smart survivor, grew up dodging gang bullets in LA, joined the Navy to escape, found purpose in saving lives instead of taking them. His hands, steady under fire, had delivered babies in villages and stitched brothers in foxholes. Tonight, with Ghost bleeding out, Doc's mind flashed to his own son, born while he was deployed. Not losing another, he vowed. Ghost to Tyler Harlan, the quiet Texan, sniper extraordinaire, 27 confirmed kills before this op. But he was more poet than killer, writing letters home in flawless cursive. His leg gone now, but in rehab, he'd joke, one less brute to polish. The team visited, bringing Whataburger, tears hidden behind laughs. Preacher O'Connor, the moral compass. Boston Irish, altar boy turned operator. His faith wavered in the suck of why God allowed such evil. But tonight, it reignited. That shadow was divine intervention, he'd say in Bible study back stateside. Blade Washington, the blade indeed. Chicago projects taught him survival. SEALs haunted. Knives were personal, intimate. Guns are loud. Blades whisper secrets. His grandmaster Payne lost a brother to the streets, vowed no more losses on his watch. Viper Kane, the ambitious one. San Diego surfer boy, top of his class. Radio man because he loved the connection, the lifeline. His pleas tonight saved them all. And Elias Thorne, the enigma. CIA case officer, Embedded since '01, learned Pashto fluent, married a local, widowed now, father to ghosts, betrayed by handlers who cut him loose after a botched op killed his team. He vanished into the mountains, a myth. Tracking HVT solo, leaving calling cards, a single black feather. The ops prelude, weeks of planning. Satellite recon showed the village quiet. Informant Falcon promised intel on bin Laden's couriers, but Falcon was compromised. Lured by blood money, the ambush was waiting. Insertion. Black Hawk skids touching dirt, rotors whipping dust devils. Team fast ropes in, hearts sink to the thump. Breach the safe. How Uzi Falcon dead, note and blood. Americans die tonight. Escape and division, up the trail, evading patrols. First contact, ambush at a stream. Ghost takes shrapnel covering retreat. Go, go! He yells, picking off 3 with his MK-12. The kill box, boulders their Alamo, counting rounds. A Hawk, 47, Dog, 32, etc. Math of death. The Shadow's first kills. Elias, perched 400 meters up, using a suppressed vomit sniper rifle from Soviet days, then switching to cold steel for close work. He'd stalked the ridges hours before, knowing the trap. Psychological warfare, the whistle a Pashto death omen. Taliban superstition cracked them. The truck, stolen from a Taliban cache, wired by Elias. Avoidance failed, but he anticipated. Final stand, circle of brothers. Flashbacks into Cutie Hawk's wedding, Doc's son's birth, Ghost's first deer hunt. Elias's charge, cinematic slow-mo. Blade arcs, blood sprays under moon. Back on full auto, brass raining. Aftermath, Medevac cried. Ghost coding, Doc defibrillating. Clear. Thump. Pulse returns. Debrief. Brass skeptical. One man. Elias's file, redacted. Coin proves it. Legacy, Hawk's Ranch now a training ground for vets. Ghost runs marathons on a Blade, pun intended. Preacher a chaplain. Blade mentors at-risk youth. Viper in politics, fighting for VA reform. Doc a trauma surgeon. Elias, sightings persist. A shadow in Syria, Ukraine. Always one step ahead. Blade ready. This is their story. Raw, real, redeemed. The night surrounded and outnumbered became the night one shadow rewrote fate. From which part of the country are you watching this video? Drop it below. Let's map the patriots.